Hi everybody, it's Forestry, and today I'm back with another Valorant breakdown for you. Today we'll be looking at how Team Liquid play on the attack side of Haven, because they play in quite an unusual and different way to how teams normally play this. And so I thought it'd be interesting to break this down and look at how they go about doing this. The match that we'll be taking the footage from is the Allied Esports Odyssey Ignition event series between FunPlus Phoenix and Team Liquid. Now, this match is not super important. It's not really a high-stakes match. It's not a final. But I wanted to review it because it's both of these teams' first outings under their new organisation, with Fish123 then becoming Team Liquid, and Zip and Go Kill becoming FunPlus Phoenix. So let's start by having a look at both of the teams that are playing in this match. Team Liquid have obviously been around for a little while now. Everyone knew them as Fish123, but the lineup has stayed pretty consistent. They brought Scream in a little bit later than the other four players, but they've been together for long enough that they've sort of started to get some team cohesion and synergy going, and they look really good. They've been consistently one of the top two teams in Europe, obviously behind G2, and they've not won any of the major tournaments yet, but it's hard when G2 are so good. But they're definitely on the right track, and they're looking really good. In this match, obviously we have Soulcast on Raze, Scream's playing Reyna, Link is on Sage, Eccles is playing Omen, and Cryptix is on Cypher. So moving over to FunPlus Phoenix now, they were a team beforehand, playing as Zip and Go Kill, named after their team leader and best player Zipan. But even so, they're still a comparatively much younger roster compared to Liquid. A few of the players played on another team before Zip and Go Kill, but still they're a young roster, and this comes through at times. They've got less synergy and less cohesion, and you can tell that they're sort of getting used to each other's communication. And as I say, they showed it at times. But undeniably, that doesn't mean that they're a bad roster. They have a lot of talent. I mean, Zipan is easily one of the best players on the roster, and so is Angel. They have huge amounts of talent, and honestly, it's scary with how good they will be once they've had a chance to fully work out the kinks and get their communication and synergy down. They'll be one of the best teams in Europe for sure. So this game, they've got Zipan on Raze, Angel is playing Omen, Shao is playing Sova, Shadow is playing Breach, and Meadow is playing Cypher. It's an interesting Angel selection that they've taken a Breach over the Sage, which is it's unusual for sure, but there is some method behind the madness. I think they're playing on the defense side first, and obviously it's quite an open map, Haven, and I think on the defense side, Sage's revives are maybe less impactful. I mean, they're still important, but FunPlus Phoenix might feel like they can get more utility out of a Breach than a Sage. I don't know. I'd prefer a Sage personally, but if it can work for them, then who's to say they can't do it? So the first example of how Liquid play, they play a lot slower and more methodical on the attack side of Haven. It's unusual compared to other teams in the professional scene. They like to play sort of fast and loose, pushing quickly onto sites. Liquid don't really do this. They slow it down. They take the ground efficiently and methodically and work their way onto sites. It doesn't mean that they play slow, though. They don't play slow. They play methodical. They get into the correct positions, they get where they want to be, set everyone up, and then they burst onto sites. And we'll see this in this game. So, the first example of this slow push is in round 3. It's obviously the first rifle round. Both teams have their rifles now. It's round 3. Cryptix has a Bulldog, but it looks like he's saving for the later rounds. The only thing to note is that Soulcast and Scream both have light armor instead of heavy armor. But other than that, it's going to be getting into the game and seeing how they play. So let's go. So, they start all sort of clumped around A and sort of B side. No one is taking mid control for Liquid, which is interesting that they do this. Obviously, you have Eccles sort of pressuring a little bit towards double doors, but we start off the round with Soulcast and Scream heading down A long until they get stopped by the Omen smoke from FunPlus Phoenix. And you can see that the Liquid have a camera watching short to make sure that no one comes up it. I thought this was interesting. Soulcast and Scream pushed down A long, but then they backed off when the smoke came, and then Soulcast hid away from the Aldrone to not give FunPlus Phoenix any information whatsoever. So if we stop it here, and just go back a little bit, you can see here that Liquid have now started to try and take mid control. And if you look at the time, we're almost a minute into the match, and this is the first sort of semi-aggressive move that they're making. And we'll actually see that it's not even an aggressive push in the end. It's more just sort of for information. Again, we have Soulcast pushing down A long at roughly the same time, but it's so slow. They've taken a minute now before anyone has done anything, given any information to FunPlus Phoenix. So it's slow. Obviously, Xiao was spotted out by the camera. And this is Liquid's trigger. Now they start to move towards A, because now they know where Xiao is. So they have 3 players pushing up long, and then Eccles is playing up short. So if we stop this here. As I said, Liquid have got 3 players playing up long, and they're going to push onto site, and 1 player playing up short. They got the information that Xiao was on site at least. And I think Scream may have seen onto B site that there was no one. He couldn't see anyone there. So they have some information that no one's going to be waiting here, and there's going to be at least 1 player on A, but more than likely 2 or 3 players. And Liquid knows, but they haven't seen anyone yet. And so they feel like it's safe to push on. They obviously smoke the default positions, but then get counter smoked, and they sort of just walk onto the site a bit bold and aggressive. Which gets them taken out. Now, I think this is sort of where Liquid's pushing could come to haunt them a little bit. If we go onto the minimap. So Cryptix is last on site here, but obviously he's a lot later than the other 2 players. Soulcast and Eccles are already dead. Leaving him in a 2v1 effectively with a 3rd player for FunPlus Phoenix coming to support. Not great odds for him. But I think the issue with this round is not the slow push itself. It did give FunPlus Phoenix a lot of opportunity to rotate their players around, which is a downside, I guess. I think the issue for Liquid here, though, is that Scream is so far back. He spent so long faffing around at B, trying to get information, and by the point he tried to sort of... I think the idea was that he would try and push behind FunPlus Phoenix once Liquid got onto site, but the fact that Liquid died so quickly and FunPlus Phoenix had all rotated over, it kind of meant it was impossible for him to push behind. I mean, if he'd pushed behind, he would have just died. Because, I mean, FunPlus Phoenix have a tripwire here, so he's not really going to be able to get a good flank off quick enough. And there's just no time. There's just no time left, and Liquid just die. But it's an example of how they push slowly. I mean, it's just building the blocks. They waited a minute almost before they even did anything remotely aggressive. I know they got aggressive towards the start up long, but they backed off quite quickly. And it's this slow push that can work in Liquid's favour, because they take it slow and they don't give any information at all. None of the players gave away any information to FunPlus Phoenix. Soulcast and Scream, when they pushed up long, they backed off immediately, got away from the Aldrone to not even let them know where they're going to be. Which I think is a really interesting concept, is that you can take it slow and just hit a site, and the other team can't do anything about it. They can't rotate anyone early because they don't have any notion that you're going to be going there. The only information that they might have had from FunPlus Phoenix was that they weren't C long. They weren't C long because the camera would have spotted them here. But that's the only information that they could have had. Especially if they didn't have any players on B, but that's sort of a standard defense, is to leave B open and just try and play for retakes. So let's go into the next example of how Liquid plays slowly. So now we're in round 5. Liquid actually lost the next 2 rounds after losing. Well, they lost round 3, we just reviewed, and then they lost round 4 as well. So it's now 2-2, and we start again with Liquid sort of grouped around B and A, sort of mid. And this is another example of how they slow push, and we're just gonna. So we start this round off. It's a semi-eco, I think, for Liquid. They lost the next 2 rounds. They lost round 3 that we just reviewed, and then they lost round 4. So some of the players have rifles, some have sheriffs. I think it's a weird buy. They need to win this round, really. We start off with them grouped around sort of mid again, pressuring a little bit more towards A. But this is gonna be another example of how they slow push, but then they turn it on when it's necessary. FunPlus Phoenix have gone for a bit of a different setup this time. They've got Xiao on A on his own, and then they have Angel and Shadow holding B together with a tripwire in front of the B doors. So we'll get into this now. You can see that Eccles pushes up and just gets killed from the top of the B box. It's pretty unfortunate for Liquid here that they're a man down already on an eco. But you can see that they're still not giving much information away. I mean, Xiao sends his owl drone up short, and Soulcast does a really good job of hiding from that to not give any information at all. Luckily for Liquid, Eccles got his smoke off on B before he died, which they really utilized during the rest of this round. So you'll see when we get into the video. Xiao doesn't see Soulcast in lobby, which is good. We see that now Liquid sort of are looking to pressure mid, and they're maybe thinking of double doors. Cryptix is looking to push pressure double doors, but he hears the drone, the boombot by Zipan come out of double doors, and so he backs off immediately and knows that no chance they're not pushing up double doors, because Zipan's waiting there with a rifle, and if they just all come in, they're going to get grenaded, blown up, whatever. This is the setup for their push onto B site. So they had a slow, methodical push. You know, they looked to go A, they backed off. They looked to go double doors, they backed off. They really need to execute this well now because they're a player down, and so they're all sort of grouped up just outside B, with obviously Shadow's waiting on site for them here, sort of unaware that they're coming because there's no information, so he's just sort of holding an off angle. And you can see this is where they combine the utility. They make the use of this smoke that's here, and combine their utility to force their way onto site. So you see that they're going to use the Rainer stun to blind Angel and Shadow, and they just force their way onto site. Link picks up a kill, Cryptix picks up a kill, and they're in. And Xiao is left stranded on A. He's going to have to rotate, and Zipan and Meadow are just they're close, but they're not on site to make any impact immediately. This is where Liquid lack, I think, is their post-plant positioning. If we just look at the minimap here, they're positioned. One player is looking down mid, which is fine. One player's looking down mid, and then there's 2 players this side of the site. 3 players, in fact. Sorry, this side of the site. Link, Soulcast, and Cryptix. You can see them here, on the minimap, and they're all sort of in the same position, which is terrible. Why are you all looking in the same position? And it allows Zipan and Meadow to just come in. They just come in double doors and just say, "Hi guys, we're on the back of site now." So there's their post-pump positioning is lacking. I mean, I feel like maybe you could have Scream. Well, Scream's fine looking down mid, but you probably want someone else. You probably want someone else stood about here to just watch this, or at least just ensure that no one can come in from C Link. Because as it happens, and you'll see now as it happens, Zipan and Meadow just sort of walk onto the back of site. There's no one watching them. I mean, Link thought about it there, but he backed off. And they get cyber caged out from... I mean, it's okay utility from Cryptix. He cyber cages a Link to stop anyone being killed from there. Not that it helps, because Xiao gets the kill with his shock dart, but Zipan's on the back of site. He's on the back of site, in Gong. And I mean, this could have been avoided. He's here, and he just got there for free, and just kills Link. Link is not expecting it. He's just waiting. He's waiting to push round and see if he can hold C-Link, but it's too late. They're already on site. And so I think it's just a big misplay by Liquid here. Because Link just dies. And Solkas gets a kill on Xiao, but it's too late. Solkas is about 1 HP and just dies to Meadow. And then Scream also dies to Meadow. It's just poor positioning from Liquid. They really need to fix that, otherwise it's going to cost them more rounds. The push onto site was brilliant. The combination of utility and pushing through the smoke all at one go and just clearing the correct angles was fantastic. It was great offensive play, but just their post-plant positioning just let them down. And that is the issue with not setting up correctly once you've got onto site. And I think it's something that it is vital for any team to think about. Because if you can't set up properly, then what's the point? You're just going to lose every single round, even no matter how good you are. Unless you can just kill the whole team before planting, which is not going to happen at the professional level. Alright, so it's probably about time we analysed the round where this methodically slow push technique actually worked for Liquid, because the two we've analysed so far didn't actually pan out too well for them. So we're going to look at round 6 here, which is another slow methodical play. As we can see, it's another rifle round. Link has an operator, but with the light armor, but that should be fine. It shouldn't be a problem for him. And so, yeah. So Liquid looked to begin this round by sort of pressuring down A short, but Soulcaster decides to back off, and then they start to look to gain mid control. Liquid, with a lot of their players focused on the mid and the grass area, with Scream sort of moving towards double doors a little bit, where, as you can see, Zipan's waiting. Unfortunately here for Liquid, we could see that FunPlus Phoenix are holding with 2 players on B site, which I'd argue is unusual. It's unusual for teams to hold like this. And obviously they're not expecting it. And unfortunately for Liquid, Link just sort of walks into Shadow's operator range and just dies. Which is quite unfortunate. But that's okay, because it gives Liquid some information that there are players on B, and it's probably a no-go to push B. So as you can see, Zipan sends his boombox out of double doors through the smoke that FunPlus Phoenix have dropped there. And unlike the previous round, where Cryptix backed away and they looked to push B after the boombox was sent out of double doors, Liquid this time decide to pressure Zipan waiting in double doors by using their utility. As you can see here, they use the blind and they just all push in and they get the kill. And the important thing to note about this kill is that it gives Liquid the opportunity to use the Cypher ultimate to get some information on where the FunPlus Phoenix defenders are playing. And we'll see that in a second. So if we look at on the minimap, the ultimate from Cypher reveals that Shadow is waiting on B and Xiao is waiting in the C link area. And this is the information that Liquid get. And this is great for them, because Eccles is waiting outside of B, and I think he knows that he can push into B undetected. We'll see how this plays out. So Liquid take control of the garage area here, and know that they're relatively safe. And Liquid have just pushed on, well, Eccles has just pushed onto the back of B site. If we just go back to take a look at that, it's lucky for Eccles, as he's pushing in, Shadow's at the back of site and then just turns his gaze away. And it just lets Eccles get onto the back of B site completely free. And here's great play from Eccles. He takes out two of the FunPlus Phoenix defenders who are waiting in the A-Link area, as they had that read that Shadow must be that side. So I don't think they knew that both players were there, but Eccles has done a great play here, and he's capitalized on the knowledge that he did have that Shadow was probably towards the A side. He drops his smoke in the doorway to C-Link here to protect himself from the enemies who would want to push in, because they know that Shao is playing in the C-Link area. And it just lets Liquid get onto the site for free. And they take control of the site. And this is where the players come in, because it's their methodical play that let them take control of the garage and then get onto B site and just take complete control. And here, Shao has no idea where Eccles is playing, and Eccles just picks up the kill on him. Scream has a great flank that I want to talk about. So if we just take the video back a little bit and have a look at the minimap. So Liquid know that Shao and Angel will be on towards the C side. They know that Shao is playing in C-Link, and they know that Angel was probably on C. However, they also know that these two players are going to be focusing on getting onto the B side and getting control to try and defuse this bomb that's been planted. Especially as Solcas has taken A-Link, so they know that Angel isn't A side. So that he must be, process elimination, he must be towards C. And this gives Scream just the opportunity to take Garage and go through the window and just get a brilliant flank on them. And we'll see this play out on the map. So Scream just walks through for free. No one checks him. Eccles gets the kill, and then Scream just picks up the kill onto Shao. And it's game over. Just rewatch that. In real time, Eccles is pushed in, got the kill onto Angel, and then Scream just picks up a free flank onto Shao. And this is where the fact that Liquid have been around as a team for a bit longer than FunPlus Phoenix really comes into it, because the timing from that flank from Liquid was perfect. Scream pulled off his flank and came out of the window area just as Shao had his back turned to take out Eccles. And it's just this communication that they must have. And it perfectly shows off how good their communication is and how their game knowledge is top quality to time their pushes together and get the perfect flank on the distracted enemies. And now I just want to bring a word on sort of the game knowledge of Liquid and how they perfectly execute using this knowledge of how the defenders are going to play. And I want to talk about the fakes a bit and how they use them with this methodical push system that they have. And this round 9, is a great example of their ability to fake the defenders out. So again, it's a rifle round. FunPlus Phoenix's money is sort of destroyed at this point. Liquid have sort of gained their economy back, which is good for them. And we'll see how this plays out. So at the start of this round, we can see that Liquid are looking to get aggressive towards A, which is unusual for them. But Zipan is quick to throw his paint shells down and delay the push a little bit. And then Shao, as you'll see now, sends his owl drone down to A short and spots out the two players and just forces Liquid to back off. Angel is there to pick him up, but he's then trained out by Scream. And then Zipan is pushed out of short to then pick up Scream. It's not a great situation for Team Liquid to be in now. 2 players down against 4, so it's 3v4. FunPlus Phoenix have all the advantages here. And so Liquid need to come up with a play here to give them the best opportunity to win the round. So to do this, Liquid present as if they're going to push on to C site. They're pressuring towards double doors. And it's really lucky for them here that Shadow just misses his shot. It's lucky. I mean, if Shadow hits that shot, the round is pretty much over. And so here we can see that Eccles has. We just get the mini map up. Here we can see that Eccles has sent his smoke here and a smoke here. Terrible drawing from me, but they're blocking the smokes are to block off the default sort of hold points of C site, and this just puts the pressure onto FunPlus Phoenix as it really sort of presents as if Liquid are going to push onto C quickly. You know, they're blocking off the entrance points for the defenders, and they're just going to come onto C site as a 3 and hope to pick the defenders off before they manage to get the rotates in. Which is sort of what a normal team would do. However, Liquid then turn around. Cryptics and Link turn around and they go towards B. So Liquid, after they've sort of faked towards C, they then start moving towards B. Link and Cryptics, they default wall to block off the vision from one side and just push on to B site, where Xiao is waiting at the back in Gong. Cryptics pushes around. He blocks off A-Link with his utility. It's pretty standard. And he picks up the kill on Xiao. And I think this is really important. It's a really important thing to talk about, is the use of the Phantom here by Cryptics. Most pros prefer the Phantom over the Vandal because of this reason. And it's the ability to spray down a lot easier with the Phantom than the Vandal. There's a faster rate of fire. There's less sort of variation in the spray. And it just gives you the best opportunity to win a trade, especially at a shorter range that they're operating at here. So if we'll just watch that again. Xiao must know that he's here, especially after the cyber cage is popped, and he just misses his shot and he just win. Link then pushes out towards A Link to pick up the kill, and now this is a really, really big play. I want to talk about this here. So, after Link sort of tries to hold A Link, they hear and see the opposition, the Meadow, the opposition Cypher, use his ultimate. Now, Link knows that the only body that they could have used this on was Eccles' body, who died pushing out garage double doors. I didn't touch on that, but he did. He died there. Because it couldn't have been the other two bodies because they were died too long ago and it's in the wrong position. So Link knows that Meadow, at least Meadow, must be in C-Link. Luckily for him, Shadow is also there. I mean, that information would have been fairly obvious as well because that's where Shadow was holding earlier when he missed the shot onto Eccles through double doors. But I think the play here from Link is really, really impressive. He sees that the Cypher is uploading, and so before his position is revealed to the Cypher, to the opposition, he swings out around the middle box of B and looks to just pick up a kill onto Meadow. Again, luckily for Liquid, Shadow just misses his operator shot, which seemed to be a theme this round. Not saying that Shadow is a bad operator player. He just whiffed 2 shots, which would have been game-changing shots had he made them. So you can see here that before his position is revealed, Link swings around the box and picks up a kill. Really important kill. And then he just picks up another kill onto Meadow. And he does die to Zipan, but then it's just great play by Cryptics. Great patient play to wait out the defuse and just to swing around. He realizes he's going to stick it, and he just swings around, gets the free kill, and they win the round. So that's just good play by Cryptics at the end to just wait for the bomb to be defused and to just swing around before it was too late. I mean, if he leaves it too late, or he needs to push when there's not enough time for Zipan to stop defusing, get the kill, and then start defusing again. He needs to put Zipan into some conflict, and he does that. He does that perfectly. But I think the important thing to note is the fake by Liquid. They faked towards C. It meant Xiao and Angel had to stay on C, and they couldn't rotate to B because there's the worry that they're just going to come back around. And so I think it's really smart play from Liquid. Really clever play. And it just allows them to pick up a round. I mean, yes, a lot of their players died, but again, it puts them in a great position. They're 3 rounds ahead. and it allows them to close out the match. So to finish off this analysis, I just want to say that Liquid are clearly a very good roster. They're on the right track. They're sort of getting their synergy down, and I think that they're taking the attack side of this map in an interesting direction. It's proving that you don't have to just play fast like most teams play, and it does work. I mean, I know 2 of the examples we used, it didn't work, but 2 of the examples we used did work. So I mean, it's just perfecting that, and it's knowing when to use it as well. Sometimes it's not going to work against some teams. If teams get aggressive out of on their defense, then this isn't going to work because you just lose control of the map, and it just puts you in too much of a difficult position. But it worked for Liquid here. Liquid went on to win this map. They did draw in the series to FunPlus Phoenix, but both sides just showed some real flashes of brilliance in this series. And as I say, FunPlus Phoenix are going to be a very good roster once they've got their synergy down and their communication sorted, and they'll be at a level that Liquid compete at now. And I think Europe, it's a good time to be a fan of the EU teams, because there's a lot of talent in this region, and it's starting to get really exciting. So yeah, stay tuned for the next video, and do subscribe if you want to watch some more. I'm conscious it's gone on quite a while, this video, so I will hopefully see you all in the next one.